Good morning or afternoon, depending where you are located, and welcome to today's informative webinar, Building a Cultural Inclusive Workforce, Elders Bridging the Workforce Gap. Today, we are here to highlight National Indian Council's Aging Senior Community Service Employment Program. We are delighted to have you join us and learn about the unique contributions of older employees to the workplace, gain practical skills to onboard and retain them, and ensure their skills and experience are integral to your organization. My name is Maly and I am a Public Health Associate here with NICOA's Technical Assistance and Research Center, better known as TARC. Joining me from NICOA today are Elizabeth Best, Program Manager of Technical Assistance, Jessica Gilbertson, Director of Communications and Events. We're honored to have you here today, and we kindly ask that you place your name, organization, and tribal affiliation and title into the chat box. Next slide, please. This event is made possible by Indian Health Services. This event is solely the responsibility of the National Council of Urban Indian Health and does not necessarily represent the views of Indian Health Services or the Department of Health and Human Services. Next slide, please. For those of you that are unfamiliar with the NICOA, here is a little bit of background. The National Council of Urban Indian Health, also known as NICOA, is the national nonprofit organization devoted to the support and development of quality, accessible, and culturally competent health and public health services for American Indians and Alaska Natives living in urban areas. NICOA is a national representative advocating for the 41 urban Indian organizations contracting with Indian Health Services under IHS, under the Indian Health Care Improvement Act, IHCIA. NICOA strives to improve the health of over 70% of the American Indian Alaska Native population that lives in urban areas supported by quality, accessible healthcare centers. Next slide, please. Before we proceed, please note that this session will be recorded for educational and quality improvement purposes. The recording will also be shared to make it accessible to those who have missed today's session or would like to revisit the content at a later time. Next slide, please. Please note your mics have been muted upon entry. We always encourage participation and engagement in today's session. We invite all of our participants to turn on their camera, post the questions and comments in the chat box. At the end of today's session, there will be an opportunity for a Q&A. Next slide, please. As we continue our webinar, we encourage active participation and value your questions and insights. To make the most of this interactive experience, here's how you can ask a question on Zoom. Just click the chat icon, type your question, and hit enter to send it to the group. Once more, we're going to be having our Q&A at the end of today's session, so we'll make sure to get to you guys. Next slide, please. So today's learning objectives: explore opportunities and initiatives that promote elder training opportunities, discover the roles and benefits of elder employees, learn from experts about the unique contributions of elder employees to the workplace, utilize effective strategies that build elder employee skills and obtain sustainable employment. Next slide, please. All right, I would like to introduce today's speaker. Leslie Maly is the SCSEP Director at the National Indian Council on Aging. She entered into the field of aging in 2006 when she was hired by the National Indian Council on Aging as the Executive Program Director for SCSEP. In her years at NICOA, she has gained the knowledge and ability to help elders across the country in urban and rural areas. By witnessing the struggle many older Americans face due to lack of financial stability, education, and work experience, she is committed to research and the hard work it takes to implement and implement improvements in the aging community. We can't wait to hear you talk about all your hard work today, and it's my privilege to introduce Leslie Maly. Next slide, please.
Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon, I should say, wherever you're at. Most of us are into the afternoon. It's my pleasure to be here today with NICOA to talk about our remarkable Senior Community Service Employment Program. Before we get into a little bit of how the program works, I'd like to go over some history goals that we on how we're able to run this successful program. The Senior Community Service Employment Program is a program administered by the Department of Labor and its Employment and Training Administration. The objective is to help low-income elders get back into the labor workforce or remain active in the labor workforce. It is a community service and work-based training program. How we do this is through job skills training and employment assistance, with emphasis on getting our job seekers placed into unsubsidized employment. The job seeker is paid the federal minimum wage, state, local minimum wage, with an average of 20 to 22 hours per week. What this is a job training program. So we place our job seekers into a training environment where they can update and learn new skills to find employment. Next slide. SCSEP was authorized by the United States Congress in Title V of the Older Americans Act of 1965, which is amended each 5 years. It's up for reauthorization. It's to provide part-time community service work-based training for low-income persons aged 55 and older who have poor employment prospects. The program has evolved significantly in the last 50 years, and the program is administered by state organizations and nonprofit organizations. Again, the eligibility criteria for the program: the participant must be at least 55 years of age or older, unemployed at time of application, a resident of the state that they are applying to, and they must live within the 125 percentile of the poverty guidelines. There are certain exclusions when it comes to income. Social Security disability is excluded until full retirement age is reached. SSI is also excluded, no matter on age. And veterans disability payments are also excluded from income. There are more. So if you think you may not qualify, I would suggest reaching out because some of that income might be excludable income. We do also make sure to enroll by priority, which are in the rules and regulations, and it is given to persons over the age of 65, veterans and qualified spouses, and those who meet the most in need population. Some of those categories include being limited English proficient, having low literacy skills, having a disability, being homeless or at risk of homelessness, living in a rural area where employment opportunities are limited, and formerly incarcerated individuals. Next slide. Some of the major SCSEP goals, of course, are employment opportunities. One of the main SCSEP goals is to provide temporary part-time training opportunities for low-income individuals aged 55 and older. By offering this subsidized community service-based placement into a host agency, it does help the job seeker gain valuable work experience by updating their current skills, learning new skills, to eventually transfer them into unsubsidized employment. When we begin the application process with our potential job seekers, we do ask a lot of questions based on their background, experience, hobbies, likes, and dislikes. This does create a path for us to better serve their needs and their employment goals. So although it's kind of a lot of information, it's extremely important for us to learn who the individual is, where they want to go, and where they are currently at, so we can better service them to transition into that employment. CSEP aims to enhance that employability of older adults by providing these training opportunities with nonprofit organizations and government agencies who do the on-job training. We also have outside sources, partnerships, and online training that can be added in addition to their training to improve their job readiness, technical proficiency, and even occupational skills. Next slide, please. Another goal to help our job seekers is income support. As you know, many older adults are living mainly on Social Security, if that. So this is something that's extremely important for the individual. CSEP serves as a source of income support for eligible individuals who may have difficulty securing employment due to age-related barriers or economic challenges. We all saw those economic challenges come very swiftly when COVID happened. So CSEP is a great program to not only help build the individual, but also help rebuild community. By offering paid training positions, CSEP helps job seekers supplement their income while actively participating in this program. Currently, NICOA administers the Senior Community Service Program, Employment Program in 7 states. We are in Arizona, Minnesota, New Mexico, Oklahoma, North Dakota, South Dakota, Wisconsin, and Minnesota. Or I already said Minnesota, I'm so sorry. So we are in some urban areas along with some very rural areas. And this is where the community service really does play. It emphasizes, CSEP emphasizes on the importance of community service and civic engagement amongst older adults. The job seekers, again, are placed at nonprofit or government agencies in their local communities to receive that meaningful training opportunities and service activities through the communities. These placements benefit both the participants and the communities that they serve. Next slide. CSEP relies on critical partnerships to be successful in service, in providing service to the older adults we serve. Partnerships are crucial for the success of the Senior Community Service Employment Program, as they allow the program to reach a wider audience. We have, to access additional resources and provide comprehensive support to participants. We have American Job Centers that we partner with. They can provide referrals. They can help us with training and employment outreach. We also work with our workforce partners, vocational rehab, and our state and national CSEP grantees. If we have a waiting list, or if we are not serving in a county or state that someone reaches out to us for, we can always direct that individual to the correct CSEP program, so they don't have to wait and do any additional research on their own. I think those are, next slide. Workforce development boards are one that we like to stay in close contact with. They have employment and training services at the local levels. We're able to communicate, make sure that we're developing plans for job seekers that are feasible, time sensitive, and they work really well with us. We get a lot of participants in our program because they were at a workforce and they were unable to find employment. So it's a really good partnership to help align CSEP with broader workforce development initiatives, leverage funding resources, and enhance service delivery to participants. Employment service providers. So we provide, we partner with other job training programs, career centers, job placement agencies to enhance outcomes and facilitate the transition to unsubsidized employment. Once we go through the next steps that we'll talk about, that employment piece is very important. We want to make sure that we have done our job in placing participants in appropriate host agency settings to receive training. Make sure that we are checking up with them every 3 to 6 months, if not more, to make sure that their goals are on track, they're still learning, so that they can have a better chance to become job ready and find employment. A lot of our partnerships, the one thing that we are very thankful for are the referrals we get, because that does help our program succeed. Next slide. When we start the process of looking at our target audience, which are elders 55 and older, low income, residents of the state and the county that we serve, we look to start our recruitment efforts. Staff is wonderful at recruitment efforts. They have done things from news articles, podcasts, being on the news. We have a lot of outreach material that they diligently place in our communities. So it typically varies depending on the grant phase and NICOA's availability, but we typically want to make sure that not only the nonprofits and government agencies in our areas know about NICOA, that the older adults in the communities know about CSEP. We collaborate with local organizations such as community centers, senior centers, other nonprofits that serve older adults. These organizations can help identify potential candidates in their community. In some of our small communities, everybody knows everybody. So you get connected with a host agency, they know several elders in their community that can benefit from CSEP. So that's very good. We use a variety of outreach methods. It can, distributing our outreach flyers, our brochures, making sure that if we can to place advertisements in newspapers, and again, getting on the local news, doing podcasts, and just word of mouth, visiting people in person, going out, doing lunch and learns. Our staff will go to senior centers during lunch, and they'll do lunch and learns, and they'll talk about the program and share a meal with the elders in the community. So there's a lot of different ways that we recruit and get out into the communities to let people know how important CSEP is and how it can be a helpful tool in establishing economic security. Next slide. We host informational sessions. I was talking about, workshops where interested individuals can learn more about CSEP, its benefits, and how to apply. These sessions can also provide an opportunity for candidates to ask questions and receive assistance with the application process. This is a great time for questions and answers when we're at these events. We are always available via telephone, but in person, I always say, is better. Our staff are constantly out in the communities attending events, job fairs, senior expos to promote CSEP, and actually take our job seekers to those job fairs to help them find employment. We engage with potential participants face-to-face, setting up information booths or tables where individuals can learn about our program and complete initial screening assessments. We do start with a pre-application with CSEP just to make sure that we don't waste the individual's time filling out the lengthy application process. we can kind of get a snapshot to see if we believe that they'll be eligible. Sometimes it's very easy to see if they're not going to be eligible. If they would like to proceed with the application process, of course, we will go through that with them, but we want to make sure that we're not getting to a point where it looks promising and then there's disappointment because of eligibility requirements. Again, with recruitment, we coordinate with those state workforce agencies, AJCs, Voc Rehab, to not only use some of their resources, but to get those referrals. A lot of the time, the state CSEPs or the national grantees will have waiting lists, and they'll refer them to us the same way that we would do to them if we have waiting list for participants. So it's definitely a combined effort for recruitment. NICOA staff work really hard to get our name out into the communities, and we're doing very well. Next slide. When we start, after we've received the application, we have to make sure that we're determining their eligibility. Our eligibility process starts at the local CSEP project office, and we are checking for age, ensuring that they have not that they are not employed at time of application, that they are resident of the state, and that they are within the 125 percentile of the poverty guidelines. We go back 6 months with income or 12 months. So we have to do a full 12-month look back. We can do that one of two ways. We can look back at income for the last 12 months. Documentation is required for validation, or we can take the last 6 months and multiply that by 2. We try to make sure that the way that we're determining that eligibility income, the income eligibility, is going to have the most positive outcome for the potential job seeker. And, you know, CSEP, we are in 7 states right now. CSEP is administered by various organizations across the United States, such as local government agencies, nonprofits, and community-based organizations. You can, if you're in a state that I didn't mention, you know somebody that needs CSEP's assistance, you can find that information at the Department of Labor's website or by searching online for CSEP programs in your area. You can also learn more about NICOA and CSEP at www.nicoa.org. So once we've got people situated where they're at, applications started, eligibility has been determined, we want to make sure that we're providing them an orientation and kind of overall training about how the program will work. We want to, so if they are accepted into the program, job seekers attend the orientation session to learn more about CSEP and the types of community service positions available. They also may receive training to help them succeed in their assigned role. Some other pre-activities can include background checks. Some places that we partner with do require that. So we kind of have to do some due diligence before we actually start into the training. But we are there step by step to ensure that the transition is smooth and that we're placing the participant appropriately. Next slide. After orientation and training, you'll be placed in, so a job seeker would be placed in a community service position. Again, we want to make sure that we're not placing someone into a training location that does not fit their employment goal or what they want to be doing in their, you know, for their potential career. This is why the application process is crucial. So we make sure that we are placing participants in positions that will increase, you know, confidence, support their goals, and provide efficient training. These positions could include roles in such areas as administrative support, customer service, tutoring, other types of community outreach. Once placed, active participants gain valuable experience. They take advantage of any additional training or support offered through the program. We want to make sure that if there's a certificate needed, we try to make sure that we're able to help that job seeker obtain that certificate so it can help their job employability. Transition to employment. While CSEP provides temporary employment and training opportunities, the goal is for job seekers to transition into unsubsidized employment. We work closely with the CSEP. They work closely with the CSEP staff to explore potential job opportunities and develop a plan for transitioning to long-term employment. We also rely on our partnerships with our host agencies where the job seekers are placed for training. We also want to make sure that they are supporting the job seekers' goals for employment. CSEP is not employment, it's a training and employment program. So we want to make sure that they're on board, that they're reviewing their individual employment plans, they're seeing their set goals, checking in with them to see how they're doing on those goals, you know, assisting with activities for employment if they have job leads, if they're able to hire the job seeker. That's one of the best outcomes for this program. Having a valued older adult in a training situation at a host site and then being able to hire them is a beautiful thing. So we really love our host agencies that are able to do that, which is difficult because, you know, working in the nonprofit world, we all know that funding doesn't just come in droves. We have to work for it. So it's a beautiful thing when that happens. Next slide. So CSEP provides job seekers with training and skill development opportunities to gain the skills that they need for employment. And it can include job readiness workshops, computer literacy classes, resume writing assistance, interview preparation. Our job developers will hold paycheck clubs, get a group of individuals together, do mock interviews, work on resume building. If there is a tire needed, reaching out for places like Dress for Success, anything that will help the employee, you know, help the job seeker get employment, we will do for that individual. We had a very successful computer class that was initiated in North Dakota at the Turtle Mountain College. And they were so great working with staff up there. We had, I believe, 8 job seekers take the computer class free of charge, and they also donated Chromebooks. So we're looking for stuff like that for skills development to help individuals feel empowered and feel confident so they can gain employment. We are that bridge to employment. We offer subsidized part-time training to job seekers through community service positions. They are always with nonprofit and government agencies. And we do, again, follow minimum wage requirements. While participating in CSEP, individuals receive support in their job search efforts. We are completing individual employment plans with individuals, make sure we're setting attainable goals with target dates, just to help them move through their journey on CSEP. You know, providing network opportunities and connecting job seekers with potential employers. Next slide. Transitioning to unsubsidized employment can be scary for individuals. you know, getting back into the workforce can be scary. The Senior Community Service Employment Program recognizes this and understands that each person is unique to their path. So that's why I love that we're able to really get to know someone and help them achieve their goals. Because the ultimate goal of SCSEP is to help the job seekers transition to unsubsidized employment. Again, in some of our states, we are dealing with the minimum wage of $7.25. You know, I feel that people are missing out on this program because of those minimum wage requirements. However, I'm hoping that that'll change in the future, but we do want to emphasize when we speak to people that this is just a bridge to employment, that there's something out there that's going to pay you more. Give us a chance, enroll in our program, let us help you obtain new skills, learn new skills, or gain that confidence and help you find employment where you're earning more than the minimum wage. We do always identify potential job opportunities. We do also encourage our job seekers to go out and look for job opportunities themselves. During our paycheck clubs, a big thing is online applications now. That can be scary if you don't have the skills to maneuver an online system. Everything is different. Every website is different. Where you find one thing on one website could be in a completely different place on a different website. So we always want to make sure that we're assisting in every area for potential job opportunities. We can also offer retention support to job seekers who have successfully transitioned out of our program into unsubsidized employment. We have a couple of options. Per the department's rules and regulations, we have a rule that if someone leaves our program for employment and that employment does not last for 30 days, they can come back onto the SCSEP program without having to redo their application. It has to be within that 30-day period. If we place a job seeker into employment and we follow up with them, 6 months later, as we're supposed to do our performance check, we notice that they're no longer working, we can continue to help them look for a job within that 3-month period that we have to place them into another position. This not only helps the job seeker, the person that went into employment from the SCSEP, but it does help SCSEP with our performance measures. It's really important for us to look at the individuals we serve, enroll as many job seekers as we can, get them into that training so they're there. We're helping the most in need population. We also want them to succeed in employment. We want to keep our numbers up so the federal government will understand the importance of this SCSEP program and keep appropriating funds for many, 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 many years to come. So we can include, the support we can give them is ongoing coaching, mentoring, and access to resources to address any challenges that they may have had in that job that they received. We can offer supportive services to job seekers. Such as access to healthcare resources, transportation assistance, referrals to any other community-based programs. If they need something that their training site or employer cannot provide, we do look for free resources in the community. If that's not an option, then we can look into providing those resources for them. Next slide. Hiring an older worker is very important. Just the experience alone. Older employees typically have a wealth of experience gained from years of working in various roles and industries. This experience can be particularly valuable when navigating complex situations in the workforce, problem solving, decision making. I think it's the experience that is brought by an older worker is invaluable. Stability and reliability. Older workers tend to have a strong work ethic and a commitment to excellence, which can contribute to a stable and reliable work environment. They often bring that sense of professionalism and dependability to their roles. We saw when COVID hit, everybody went home and was working remotely. Places, I think have gone remote, but there's a lot of places that still want in person. And I think it's perfect for the older generation. That's what we're used to. And I think that they bring just a wealth of knowledge. They are adaptable. Contrary to stereotypes, older employees can be highly adaptable and open to change. Many have experienced various shifts in the past with technology, industry trends, workplace practices throughout their careers the last 30, 40 years, making them adept at navigating change and uncertainty. Next slide. Emotional intelligence is crucial. With age often comes a deeper understanding of human behavior and emotions. It's from your experiences, learning, adapting. Older employees may be more adept at managing interpersonal relationships, diffusing conflicts, and fostering a positive work culture. Older employees have likely weathered numerous professional and personal challenges, so their resilience is second to none throughout their careers. Developing resilience in the face of adversity. This resilience can be contagious, inspiring colleagues to persevere through tough times and setbacks. And in closing, I would like to, if it's okay, Molly, I would like to share a success story.
Yeah, that would be amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for listening to my presentation today. If you have any questions, please put them in the chat. I do want to read a success story to you all, and we get these frequently into the corporate office from staff, from our job seekers, and they're why we do this and why we love our work. So the journey to employment is different for every job seeker. Often the path is not a straight line and is filled with detours and setbacks. Sometimes reaching your goal can seem impossible. Health issues and unexpected outcomes get in the way. In the Senior Community Service Employment Program, each small training step will bring the job seeker closer to economic well-being. This is the story of Margaret Garcia's progress toward financial independence and deserves celebration. Through NICOA SCSEP training at a nonprofit organization, her supervisor saw a hardworking, dedicated woman. Scott hired Margie at St. Vincent de Paul thrift store as soon as he had an opening. Her story is like many other seniors that have either been diagnosed with health issues, retired with lots of life left, or they have not yet or are not yet eligible for Social Security income. Their training in the Department of Labor's funded grant has led to many elders going back into the workforce. Margaret Garcia was actively looking for work. She had worked at a hotel cleaning for 10 years, but because of intense labor, her back and knees began to hurt. She looked for other jobs, but Margie was never hired. Her search lasted a few months until a friend referred her to NICOA SCSEP. She applied and was accepted, and it changed her life. Margaret started her training at St. Vincent de Paul thrift store, separating pricing and hanging donations. She felt much better getting out of the house and contributing to a nonprofit organization, which was formerly her current host agency and now her employer. Her experience while training paved the way for her supervisor to offer her a real unsubsidized job. Margie enjoys working at St. Vincent de Paul, and she is thankful for the training and being able to go to work every day. So this is the main goal, helping older adults across the country get back into the workforce with confidence, security, skills, and power. So thank you very much.
Thank you for the work you're doing. And I feel like a heart emoji isn't enough, but feel free to drop anything into the chat to show your gratitude to Leslie and the amazing team she works with, because I mean, the hard work you guys put in every day, it's really transforming elders' lives. And Margie's story just gives you chills, absolute chills. At this time, though, we're going to just open it up to questions, so feel free to come off mute or type your questions into the chat box. That was just such a powerful story. It gave me chills. I really kind of just feel like a shake with it, but
it's such a great program, an important program. It's what I love to do. I've been doing it I've been with NICOA for 18 years. And I don't plan on leaving, so.
Does it ever feel, I guess, I know I didn't write this question down at all, but does it ever feel like old, or is it always just something new, always something?
There's always something new. Actually currently writing a grant, just thinking about improvements or different strategies and to strengthen outcomes. It's kind of a revolving door. There's something new every day. And working with the staff that we have at NICOA is just so rewarding. They give me life every day with their ideas, their stories, their determination. It's beautiful. So it doesn't get old. I love it. And I'm very thankful to have the opportunity to be doing this work that I love.
Absolutely. They are lucky to have you, but it brings so much. And I know there's a lot of misconceptions with this workforce, and you touched on it a little bit, but they bring so much. But if there's anything like in particular you want to dispel from older workers, entering the workforce again, what would you tell employers?
I think what we would tell employers is to give them an opportunity, at least, to get them in the door for interviews. We do prep our job seekers. I think ageism is real, and we need to reiterate all of the things that I went through: their reliability, their resilience, able to shift for change. Not a lot of people are able to do that. I just think that age is only a number, and we've had folks in our program at 80 years old finding a permanent job. And it's age has nothing to do with the outcome. It's going to probably be a better outcome than they would initially think. And I think everybody should give an older worker a chance to apply, interview, and possibly be hired with any organization that their skills align with.
Not so much, you can teach an old dog new tricks. It's absolutely true.
Absolutely.
So, I'm curious how many people you have in your program and what time. I know it's a really large program across multiple states, but
yeah, the SCSEP program in all serves thousands of elders every year, older adults every year. At NICOA, we are currently in 7 states. We're allocated about 600 plus positions every year, but those get modified. We serve around 400 to 500 people every grant year.
Wow, 4,500.
Yep, and our grant year runs July 1st through June 30th.
Oh my God. You guys are doing so much. I was thinking 40 to 50, 400 to 500. That takes an army in itself.
Yeah,
That's some amazing numbers.
yeah, we're in, again, rural and urban areas. And if we are not in your state, please, you can reach out to us. You can look at the Department of Labor's website, Google, find a CSEP program in my area, because it's such a great program. So if you know anybody in your community that can, take something from this, please have them reach out.
And with reaching out, I do want to touch on partnerships a little bit more. You mentioned it, and feel free to interrupt me, participants, if you guys have any questions. Just come off mute or type your questions into the chat box. But what do you look for a program partner for placement? What is like a key factor that you look for, and what's the process look like with that partnership?
For host agencies, partnerships, those that are actually providing the on-site training, we really want to make sure that they're aligned with our mission. It's really easy to say, okay, yeah, this is an employment, we'll bring the job seeker in, we'll train them. After a while, it kind of feels like employment. We want to make sure that they are supporting that job seeker's ultimate goal of finding employment if it won't be with that host agency's organization. We also do want to find those host agencies that are able to hire our job seekers if a position is available that they're qualified for. I remember a few years back, this was before COVID, the Salvation Army in Oklahoma, over a 2-year period, I think they hired maybe 8 to 10 of our participants. It was wonderful. And then of course COVID hit and things changed, which is a big thing that I was reminded of. After COVID hit, a lot of places closed, and in those rural communities, it's, places shut down. They have no, slim to none chance of rebuilding. We have to remind ourselves that our job seekers play an important role of that community rebuilding with our partners, with our host agencies, because if there's 2 staff people at a senior center that cannot run a senior center with 2 staff people, we're able to supplement that with one of our committed job seekers to help that organization rebuild financial stability, maintain financial stability. So it's just, we look for that. We look for that, and we want to help our partners in that respective.
You touched, and thank you for your answer. You touched on the pandemic a little bit there, but I'm curious if you could tell us how it affected your program and program outreach and placement for these older workers, and how are you guys now?
It kind of shut everything down. During lockdown, no participants were able to report to their host agencies. We were able to provide COVID sick leave, which was extremely important. So folks could still receive paychecks every 2 weeks. As things kind of progressed in a positive light, we developed some online tools, online training courses that we were able to utilize through places like Get Set Up, Allison.com, so that our participants could do kind of a mix of online training and have that COVID sick leave. And then as things were opening up, just trying to rebuild current communities, current host agencies, and then eventually go on to expand and look for additional host agencies that wanted to partner with us.
I'm happy you guys are able to rebuild, some of what was lost. And it sounds
Yeah.
like you're getting better.
Yeah, things are opening. Things we need to look at remote learning, remote work, because some of that's still pretty viable and we could be missing out on opportunities if we don't look at that. But for the most part, everything is in-house at a training environment, which I think is helpful with people updating and learning new skills. It can be hard, I feel, for me, to do that just online, but I like that human connection. I'm old school like that. So it's different. It's a different world we're maneuvering through with workforce.
It is different, especially if you weren't born with the technology or growing up with the technology, and then that's a whole thing in itself, for sure. I
Absolutely,
guess
absolutely.
my last question before we conclude and go into the next few slides. If I had a magic wand and could give you additional funding, and what other services would you like provided or enhanced?
I would love to be able to supplement income for some of our job seekers that are receiving minimum wage. I would love to have an abundance of iPads, set up training classes for like introduction to computers. You got to kind of start with, I guess, no matter where what job you would like to go into, you do have to have some basic computer knowledge. And I think that it would be really good to offer training courses. I would also like to work with tribal colleges to create certificate programs for caregiving, healthcare service aides, home health aides, because I see that in the future that the older population is going to increase in size and we will be faced with lack of nursing homes, assisted livings, especially on reservations. We also want people to age in place. And I think that just from looking at different studies, there's not a lot of caregivers. And a lot of people could be actually caregiving for a family member. Get them trained. Let's look at Medicaid waivers. Let's look at different things that we can do to try to pay these people for their hard work and love that they're already providing to their loved one. So there's just a lot of things that I would like to accomplish in addition to what we're doing.
You've done so much already with you've been there, what, 18 years? So I'm absolutely ecstatic to see maybe 18 years on, we'll redo this and just be like, all right, how many iPads do we have?
I
Who
know.
got trained where? What does the e-learning look like?
Just empowering people. Life's hard and we all have to maneuver through some difficult paths, but together is where that synergy and, making people feel that they are important in this world and can contribute to the greater good is why I'm here.
Well, we appreciate you today for being here with us, and we are already coming close to 3 o'clock. So I'm just going to go into our next slide real quick.
Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. Are you kidding me? If you liked today's session, if you liked today's topic, if you found our speaker wonderful, please let us know. Take our survey. We'll be sending this out after today's event. Within the next couple of days, you'll all have this recording too. So that way you can share the amazing work with your colleagues as well. The link has been put into the chat box, and you're also scan the QR code for the same link to take the survey. Next slide, please. And then NICOA is committed to supporting UIOs and the important work and services they do every day. For individualized technical assistance and everything from agency regulations to UIO billing and coding, please fill out and submit our technical assistance form. Link found on our website, and then it's also being provided here in the chat box today. Next slide, please. Upcoming events. Please register and join us for upcoming events with the link that's also being provided in the chat box. Our next event is on April 11th, Introduction to Holistic Forms of Healing. This event will feature Bakersfield American Indian Health Project's culturally competent care through traditional forms of healing. In addition to that event, we also have others events listed, such as our NICOA annual conference, and registration is open, which is already starting the end of this month. Hard to believe it's 20 days away. And we also have our infection prevention control team. They're accepting applications for their Project First Line, Project Photo Voice. The links for all of these can be found on the NICOA website, but they're also in the chat linked below. So lots of links. And next slide, please. And that's it. Thank you all for joining us today, and we look forward to seeing you all at our next event. And please take the survey if you enjoyed this session or maybe had additional comments or questions. We love hearing back your feedback. And thank you to our wonderful presenter. I definitely learned a lot. So happy we have programs like yours.
Thank you for having me. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.
Thank you all.